Welcome back to Mason and Associates. Again, I'm John Mason, and in this episode, we're talking about the push and pull between not wanting to start spending your money today in retirement, but also not wanting to leave a legacy. And this is fascinating because overwhelmingly, I've been doing this since 2010, and I can count on one hand how many people have come in with a goal that says, I want to maximize the amount of dollars that I leave to the next generation. Now, separately, do we want to make inheritance easy? Yes. If there's money left over, do we want it to be tax efficient? Yes. So these are like different goals, but maximizing the total dollars left over to the next generation, I can count on one hand how many people have wanted to do that. Now, as federal employees, you're probably a federal employee watching this show. Many of you are very conservative, and I say this with a smile on my face because, again, I've been doing this for 14 years. So if we were to look at like a probability of success, I'm not saying that's the end-all, be-all of financial planning, but if we were to look at a probability of success in retirement for you, most federal employees want to see that speedometer at 100%, meaning they're not willing to accept any sort of variability in their financial plan. They need to know that 100% of the time, they passed away with money, and 100% of the time they never ran out of money before they expired or before they passed away. So it's interesting because we don't want to leave a legacy, but yet we need 100% probability of success in your financial plan. So we've had a couple different ways that we've tried to say this at Mason and Associates. Your financial plan as a federal employee is always a 100% chance of success. What do I mean by that? Well, you have pensions and you have Social Security, which means if you just don't overspend on your guaranteed income, you will be able to stay retired your entire life. Caveat, I don't know if the government goes out of business, if the whole world ends, well, then it ends for everybody. But your probability of success in retirement, we have to say is 100% because it's insured by the greatest insurer in the world, arguably the United States of America. Will you always be able to spend what you're spending today? Well, that's a different question. Your ability to succeed in retirement, we would argue, is always 100% because you have the backing of those great pensions. So when we look at probability of success for a client, we say this speedometer doesn't define your probability of success. What it defines is your probability of leaving an inheritance to the next generation. And if it says 100%, we can almost reasonably think that it's not going to be a small inheritance. It's going to be a rather large inheritance if that speedometer is showing 100%. So probability of success is not your ability to stay retired. It's probably more of your ability to leave a pretty massive legacy on the back end of your financial plan. What's another way that we've grown to say this is we try and get clients more comfortable spending money doing things in retirement that they've always dreamed of. One of our favorite is if you don't spend it, they will. Or if you're not going to spend it, somebody else will. Some version of that. And it really, if you think about that for a second, if you don't spend it, somebody else will, right? Because whoever inherits your money isn't going to value it the same way that you did. You worked hard, you saved hard, you physically made decisions, mentally, physically. It was hard work saving that money. So your appreciation of it is different than the next generation's appreciation for it. That doesn't mean they're going to be ungrateful, but they're going to more easily spend that than you would. So if you don't spend it, they will. So these kind of conversations is what we're working with at Mason and Associates to try and get our clients comfortable enjoying retirement, starting those investment distributions. Folks, we've seen this for decades now at Mason and Associates, and me for 14 years, is once that money goes into the safe or into the lockbox or into an investment account, it's very hard for you to pull it back out. It's really hard to flip the switch from saving your entire life to now spending your money in retirement. What we're hoping to do through our education, empower, support, remember, things are what they seem: support, empower, educate, motivate. We're hoping to encourage clients to make that switch in retirement, start living off of this money, start using the money for the things they've always wanted to do. Disclaimer, We're financial planners first. We do this content creation second, but we are not your financial planners. Nothing that we do on our podcast or on our YouTube channel can be construed as financial planning, tax planning, or investment advice. If you decide you want to act on any of the contents that we're producing, we recommend that you consult one or more professional advisors before doing so. Folks, let's start thinking about this now. Let's start thinking 3 years, 5 years, 10 years before retirement. How are we going to make this switch? How are we going to get comfortable being able to spend 2, 3, 4, 5% of your net worth on things that you've always wanted to do? If you don't feel comfortable spending your own money in retirement and you're a client of ours, well, we've done a bad job. But if you're a client of somebody else or you're a DIYer and you haven't been able to make that switch to enjoying your retirement, then we ask that you call us or somebody like us so that you can feel empowered to do so. And here's what I'm starting to realize, what we're starting to realize at Mason and Associates is that sometimes one spouse may be bought into spending money in retirement, but maybe that other spouse is a little more nervous. Well, having that unbiased third party that can kind of give you permission to start enjoying the fruits of your labor, enjoying those hard-earned assets and all those years that you saved the money, that's where a qualified financial planner comes in. Folks, we're Mason and Associates, masonllc.net. Thanks for being with us on another episode on our YouTube channel. We'd be honored if you do all the things for us, like, subscribe, bell notification, share it with friends and family. And if you haven't checked it out yet, we have our Federal Employee Financial Planning podcast that's available on all major platforms. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time right here with our Federal Employee Financial Planning YouTube channel.